All right, so we are going to do a series of movements that is going to help to loosen up your hips in both directions. So rotation out and rotation in. If you are someone that struggles with really pinchy hips and you're not making a lot of gains in your ability to move your hips, it might be causing some low back pain or even knee pain, ankle pain, whatever it may be. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to open things up by getting you in a side lying position and being able to move your pelvis back and forth like this. All right, this is helpful in helping to reorient where these pelvic bones are because on my model, they don't move, but they do move on the human body. And this is the socket for your pelvis. So we're gonna get you in a side lying position. The first thing that you're going to want to have are just a couple options of different bolsters. So foam roll, I have a yoga mat. I have just this little bolster thing. You don't need all this stuff, but just kind of get creative because you're going to figure out what works for you. And you're going to be starting by lying on the floor. And we're going to do a really relaxed position. So you want to put a bolster, if you feel your top hip bone here, you want to put a bolster underneath of this pokey part. All right, so the bolster is going to be kind of right up against, but it's going to be above the part of your hip down here where it sticks out. So you've got this space and you're going to kind of want to get it right in that, right where you might be able to kind of sink your knuckles in. All right, so that's going to be lying on your side. And then from there, we're going to do a few movements. All right, so you're going to come on your side. And I think probably what's going to work best for me is pillow under my head, so I'm nice and relaxed. A little bit flatter pillow, and then I'm going to use kind of a more bulky material, not so squishy, underneath my pelvis. So I'm going to have this in that position that we said is kind of a nice, just because that fits really, really nicely in that position to give me a little bit of pressure. And then I'm going to bring my arm over top. My back just popped. I'm going to bring my arm over top of this one and then just let my head relax. So again, lots of bolsters. And I'm just going to lay here and I'm going to let my hips kind of really sink in to the yoga mat. Now, there are options. You could then create force on the top by grabbing a kettlebell or something like that, where you can just sit it right in your hip. Just be real safe. And you're just sitting in on this hip. And we're going to try to guide these bones together. All right. So what you're going to try to do here, and you can put something between your knees, whatever you want to do. Sometimes even this position, where you've got something between your knees is going to be good. So you're just nice and relaxed. And you're going to do some easy breaths in and out. So nice quiet breath in. Then just open your mouth and let the air escape out. So this is nice and relaxing. If you feel like you've got a lot of tension back here and it's kind of, basically it's tipping you up and it's pulling your hips back, you can encourage a little bit of a tucked position and then really let your hips drop. And that can be more comfortable. That's going to allow the muscles to relax a little bit more. Okay, so a few breaths here just before we start moving. So this is a nice passive option. You can do this before bed, and you're just letting all those muscles relax, and it's primarily opening up this space back here because you're giving pressure to these wing bones. So you're going to gap this space back here, which is the source of a lot of SI joint pain and things like that. All right, so then we're going to move on. We're going to get moving a little bit more. So you can still keep a little bit of a bolster, especially when you're laying on your left side like I am now. I want to keep a little bit of a bolster between my hip and my rib so my spine isn't just bending. All right, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to just practice some rolling. All right, so this is kind of level one. You're going to put your free knee up on a roller, and you're just going to be able to roll forward and back and just nice and easy. You kind of want your leg to be pretty passive. You're almost using your body weight just to roll out and back in. So keep it passive to start. You can let your shoulder roll too. This is really helping if you have a lot of tightness in your back, even into your shoulders. You can even start to slide your arm out and then pull it back. You can see I'm kind of letting my head lead a little bit too. So I'm starting to just get that rotation, just introducing it back into my body, because sometimes we have none, especially if we're in a really guarded state. So this is really relaxing. Okay. So from there, what I'm going to have you do is we're going to reach that, especially that right hip, we're going to reach that hip down, and then we're going to get this more active. So we're going to try to connect to the inner thigh a bit. That's going to do the, that's going to lengthen on the roll out. So you might feel some tenderness, but then you're going to grab that roller and you're going to pull it in as much as you can. So we're just starting to use some muscle. Just keeping a nice steady breath. Not irritating anything. Everything's pretty relaxed. All right. So pretty easy there. The second step from there that you're going to want to do is we're going to start on your back and all these pillows, and you're going to slide me up to 90, lift, and then you're going to start to roll. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you can lead with your shoulder or your hip. It doesn't matter, but we're going to start to roll. And what you want to do is pick one. We're going to be leading with the hip here on the way down. Leave everything else relaxed, and on the way back, you're going to throw that top shoulder back, which is going to then grab the hips and take them back. All right. So again, you're still feeling pretty much like Jello. Not a lot is working here. You're breathing, avoiding any hip pinching, but you're just going slow. Okay. And kind of segmentally. Okay. Then what you can do, if you achieve the position where you can pull that knee back, keep the knee resting on the ground, and now your hips are more stacked, then you can even start to open up the upper body. Okay, so then this is stationary and just the upper body is moving. So we're trying to then disassociate hips from ribs, because so you have more rotation through your back overall. Okay. Good. So your stopping points there are if you get pinching in your hip, and that way you just back off of it a little bit, and you can go as passively, which is resting, or into more of the active as we progressed through. So that is a great series to calm your nervous system, get back some rotation in your shoulders and hips, and reduce a lot of low back tension.